Okay. Okay, y'all. What's up? What's up? Welcome to Third Eye Visions. I will be talking to a very interesting character on the other side after I play my intro. So y'all stay tuned. Y'all don't want to miss this. Uh, what's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Welcome to Third Eye Visions. That's right, Third Eye Visions, where we always motivate the blind. We always stimulate your mind and welcome all kind. We have a very interesting topic, as I mentioned earlier. We're going to be talking about anxiety and depression. Very interesting topic, much needed because of what's going on today. The music that you hear in the background has been provided by King OJ. And I will be welcoming my man, Shawn, from Sensational Gent, his YouTube channel. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it after I give y'all this. Welcome to Third Eye Visions, where we motivate the blind, stimulate your mind, and welcome all kind. My name is Anthony Parker. I want y'all to stay tuned. Make sure you will continue to subscribe as y'all have been doing so. Continue to hit that like button. Continue to share, and most of all, comment on these videos, because that is a way that I'll be able to know what's going on. So with that being said, I'm very anxious to get into the topic because like I said, we definitely need to be talking about this right about now. I want to welcome my man from Sensational Gent, right?
Yes, the Sensational Gent.
The Sensational Gent. My man Shawn. So with that being said, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, man. I follow you, man, and I suggest that you all follow this gentleman as well. So y'all better do what as I say. So with that being said, man, look, briefly tell the audience a little bit about who you are, and a little bit about your channel, and we'll get into the topic after that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yep. Depends on where you're at. Yep. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Shawn C. I am the host of the Sensational Gent. I am a 20-year veteran of the military. I retired from the Navy. I was on submarines, and I was a chief petty officer. I did engineering in the Navy. And since then, I've been retired, coming up on my third year now. And somewhere in the process, I created the Sensational Gent. It's funny because this has been a lifelong dream of mine to kind of do this. And Anthony, as you know, the technology just wasn't there for us to be able to broadcast or do our own thing without a little help.
Right.
So we used to, my mom used to have this camcorder, like a very old one, that the only way it worked, you plugged it into a VCR.
Mm-hmm.
And we only had about 2 feet of cord, you see. Mm-hmm. So I used to make comedy sketches back in the day with this camcorder I had. It was the only thing I had. And, not like being able to use your phone or your computer to do everything that we do now. So I created a Sensational Gent because I wanted a show. I see a need out there. There's a lot of young men, particularly, that I feel need help right now. And I do dating and relationships and stuff like that. But the show is designed to be dating, relationships, health, fitness, and travel. So that's what I want the show to be. However, right now I have to niche it down because when you're growing, if you get to too many topics, you kind of lose your audience sometimes, So
that's a very important part, and I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people want to create a channel and they want to talk about 15,000 things, but you kind of really can't do that, because you definitely will lose your audience. I mean, you can sneak a few things every now and then because that's what I do on my channel, but you can't. You
Me
have
too.
to. You can't be all over the board with it because
Right.
you're definitely gonna lose your audience and whatnot. And I definitely stress that wholeheartedly. So got any more you want to talk about? Because you were also in the served in the military. Thank you so much. Briefly tell us
Yeah.
how about that.
Well, I grew up in New Orleans. I was born and raised in New Orleans. So I'm who that for life.
Oh,
I left at the age of 19, but prior to that, I had a single mom. That she did her best. She, did everything that she could to make sure that I had everything I needed to be successful. And so we had a little falling out about 18. That's about the age, right? You got to get out and do something.
Yep.
So, so there was a year from graduation all the way till I joined the Navy that, I learned how hard life was. And so I graduated kind of toward the top of my class and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I saw at the, right before I signed up to join the Navy, I saw that I was wasting talent. I wasn't doing what I should have been doing. There's more I could have been doing. So I said I would never go to the military. I'm gonna just let y'all know right now, right? I was like, man, I'll never join, the man's military. But I learned so much from it. It's not always been the most positive situations, but at the end of the day, the skills that it gave me will last me a lifetime.
That's definitely true, man. I feel you on that, and that's what a lot of youngsters need. But I'm glad that you serve for our country, man, and I appreciate everything that you've done and what have you. But as we segue from that and talk about what we had discussed last week that you said is dear to your heart, anxiety and depression. Before we get into the depression stage, let's talk about anxiety for a second. And briefly, for those who don't know as well as me, briefly tell us what anxiety really is. In your definition, in your own words. What it is, because you have experienced it. Am I correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so tell us about it. What's the definition and what have you?
So, the easiest way to explain it for someone who doesn't understand is it's an exaggerated state of worry or panic. Okay, because you can have anxiety attacks and you can have panic attacks, and they kind of trigger from the same place, but the feeling is totally different. An anxiety attack will make you feel like you're overly jittery or nervous, or it's almost like, how can I explain it? You'll feel like you can't move or function normally, right? Everything will feel, it can vary, right? You can feel like everything is closing in on you. You can get claustrophobic from it. It can make you totally shut down exactly what you're doing at that moment. But a panic attack, the first time I had one of those, I actually was getting ready to get on a flight. So when I got back, I actually had my heart checked out because I thought something was wrong. That felt like a heart attack. It felt like somebody was sitting on my chest and I couldn't breathe. So I've had a number of panic attacks through the course of my life, but I don't really get those as many anymore. I still every now and again get an anxiety attack. And the last one I had was at work. The strongest one I had was at work. And we were shutting down for the night. I was bartending, and we were shutting down for the night. So I was in my routine, and I'm military, right? So routine is everything, right?
Yep.
Then a whole bunch of people show up at our bar when I thought I was going home, and it just gave me an anxiety attack. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe at the moment. I had to go outside into the cool air because it was around fall or winter last year. And I had to calm myself down and get myself into a different mindset. Okay. And again, so I went to a doctor. Well, I don't want to get too far out of what you just asked that question, but
okay. Yeah. Before we get into that, so I want to maybe two questions if I can remember the other one. So anxiety attacks and panic attacks, they're basically interchangeable, or is there such thing as an anxiety attack and then there's a such thing as a panic attack?
They are two different things. They
Okay.
the feeling you get from it is two different things.
Okay. And go ahead briefly. Tell us the feeling that you get from an anxiety attack versus a panic attack.
So yeah, like I said, the anxiety attack, you can still kind of function through it a little bit, but you again, you feel really anxious, really nervous. You don't know at the moment, you won't be able to pinpoint why, but you can still kind of move around and function through it a little bit. It's still debilitating right when it happens, right? You're going to have to do something to change that in a moment for you to move on. But a panic attack, the best way to explain it is it feels like you're having a heart attack. It really does.
Oh
And
wow.
I thought I was having a heart attack when I first had panic attacks, but come to find out that's what it was. It wasn't a heart attack because they would never see anything on the EKG when they hook you up with all the electrodes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't see it because it would happen and it would go away.
Okay. Now, with you feel to say something before I move
No,
on?
I was just saying it took them a while to diagnose the panic attacks, right? Because they thought I thought I had problems with my heart, but that's not what it was. It was the panic attack. So because they couldn't see it happening in the moment, they couldn't diagnose it in the moment. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does very much. Now, for my guests, if y'all have any questions, y'all can chime in and ask. What's up, Pamela? So with what's going on today and
Mhm.
you know and last week and months before, I'm quite sure there are a lot of people that may develop anxiety and possibly end up getting these particular panic attacks. So is it safe to say that there are overwhelming circumstances that cause people to develop anxiety, or which in a sense may lead to these attacks?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So the story I was gonna lead in with was how so I went to speak to one of the doctors because I was having these panic attacks. Anxiety attacks. I was having anxiety attacks and panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in to go talk to them. And then in the military, like because so many people feign sickness, feign illness, they kind of, when you tell them certain things, they kind of have a level of skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
Until I told her everything that was going on in my life at the time. And there are certain little trigger words and different things that I was going through that eventually she looked at me like, oh, wow, this guy is serious. Stop. You don't have to tell me anymore. Right. And so she told me some methods to use, but it just wasn't helping me. So when I did more research on it, I had to figure out how to calm them myself. Not saying I have it down pat. I'm just telling you, and it's going to go into what your question is.
Mm.
So when you have these anxiety and panic attacks, a lot of times it's because you are trying to control something that you aren't able to in the moment. Okay.
That's interesting. I like that.
So I tend to worry about controlling things. I was in the military, so I like to control things and make sure that they're organized and stuff like that. So when the things that led me to having those anxiety and panic attacks to get it diagnosed in the military was stuff that I could not control. Does that make sense? I could not control it. And so eventually mentally, I think I just broke. Right. Okay. To where it was so severe, I had to get checked out for it.
Okay. Let me stop right there. Now, give the audience an example, because I understand what you're saying. I'm quite sure they too, but just for the sake of give them an example. If it's personal, don't talk about, but something that you couldn't control that led to this.
Yes. So something that will give people panic attacks most of the time is thinking about our anxiety attacks, is thinking about maybe like the future, right? Mm. Or you're worrying about the past, right? Right. So something that's about to happen in your future and something is about to maybe happen in your past. Could be something that's happening in your present too, that you're concentrating so much energy into. Right, it's causing you to have a physical reaction, a physical condition, and that's called psychosomatic, right? Where you're thinking something so much that it can cause physical illness. So,
bro, you know what? I have a tendency to interject, but I want to, before I forget, I'm glad that you touched on it, because you can ask anybody. I am the type of person that does it. Like me, I mean, I think about the past in terms of, the people that I've lost along the way, and then as a blind person, I think about what my direction is in terms of, from jobs to,
absolutely.
future, and what it entails. So, bro, I mean, talk more about that, because that's very important, as well as just saying it, because I have a lot of visually impaired audience as well, and they may be going through the same thing that I'm going through, and I don't definitely want them to get this sense of anxiety about it. So talk more to them about it.
So I'm gonna to answer your question, I'm gonna tell you the solution that actually helped me to limit the amount of panic and anxiety attacks.
Right.
Because again, if you worry too much about something that you can't control, you can give yourself these anxiety and panic attacks. So when they tried to give me the treatment, or, tell me how to treat it, hey, go home, do this. I still can outthink what I'm doing. Right. So I didn't feel like that was enough. I wanted to kind of talk to somebody. I didn't want to get out of work. I didn't want medication. I liked my job at the moment. So I needed help. I just needed someone to kind of talk to. And that's not what they gave me as a treatment. So to answer your question, I had to figure out what was going on with myself. And this is what I came up with, for me at least. Mm-hmm. You can't change the past, right? You can't change the past, but you can learn from the past. And you can't really predict the future, but you can prepare for the future. Okay? Because anything could change. We can plan for a sunny day outside and a barbecue cookout, but if a storm or a hurricane come through, that cookout is done.
Right.
Now, even though everybody went and bought what they had to and brought whatever they needed, it doesn't change the fact that you didn't know that the outcome was that you wasn't going to be able to have that cookout that day. So there's nothing you can do about it. So instead of stressing on that, something that you can't control, right? All you can do is prep for it. By prepping for what you can control, that limits your anxiety or panic attacks, right?
Okay.
As far as the past, let's talk about the past. Mm-hmm. As far as the past, you cannot go backwards in time. No one has done it that we know of. I don't know of anybody with a DeLorean, going back,
We all wish we could, though. But
we all wish we could, but you can't. You can't go backwards, right? So that's something that you can't control. So why stress on it? But learn from it, right? So that's kind of the thought process. So I look at everything that comes in my life, especially even when I'm having a panic attack. That night, when I was at the bar and everybody showed up, went outside, got some cool air on my face, and I asked myself the question: there's something I can do about this right now. Well, that was easy, right? Yes. Serve them. Give these people a good time, right? So guess what? My panic attack subsided when I realized, hey, there is something I can do about it. But when there is something that I can't do anything about, I don't stress on it. What I do is I realize can I do something about it? Yes. Then what are you going to do? And then you make a plan. If you can't, put it off to the side and don't stress on it until you can.
That's real talk. And that goes for, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
That goes definitely for, I'm glad you said it, because as I mentioned, and I keep harping on what is going on right now, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but the people are worrying about this election and all these other things that's going on in this world today. What he just said, it's a great point, man. You can't control it, man. I mean, you can check, you can watch the elections, you can listen to the news, but you cannot absorb yourself with that, because that can definitely lead to some bad situations. Am I right, John?
That's right. Let me interject on that point a little bit.
Sure.
You did what you could by going to the polls. Now, if this doesn't work out in whatever direction a person wants this to go, then in that case, you have to look at the next recourse, right? But that's not something you need to stress on today. That's something you plan for, right? There's nothing I can do. I voted, right? I voted yesterday. So there's nothing I can do. I have to make sure, just let it go and do what it do. And again, Whatever way somebody votes, whatever, that's fine. But if you stress on it, that's not going to help the situation. What you need to figure out is your plan. And the other thing is the sensational gent, just like I'm sure Third Eye Vision, is part of your purpose at the moment. So the sensational gent is my purpose. And it has other things that is going to bring about part of my plan, part of my purpose. And right now, if I don't worry about what's working out or isn't, I am following my purpose. That will take me ultimately to where I need to be at.
I like that, man. Bro, you were pointing out some very good points. The blind and the blend the blindsided wanted me to, I take a pause for the calls, tell you hi. Pamela Coon, Naturally Beauty, told me to tell you hi.
Hello, everybody.
Told me to tell you. So you just know this is what is needed, man. So we're gonna stretch it out a little bit more. So and talk about like people who develop anxiety. Do they develop it over time, or can you is it anything that you're born with in terms of not being able to handle pressure? Is that
as far as I know of, there is some genetic aspect to it, but at the same time, I didn't have any issues. This was never something I had. I didn't remember ever being depressed or having anxiety or panic attacks. None of these things was happening in my life. I would say pressure over time, overly stressing over time. I can look at some of the things that happened in my life when the bad things or the things I couldn't control and it caused those things. I can tell you I wasn't eating right. I wasn't exercising at all. Right? I wasn't getting enough probably sun at the time because, again, I was on submarines, right? So,
right.
If you come back off a submarine and you decide to stay inside all the time, you're not going to get the sun, the vitamin D you need from the sun. You know what I mean? So there are things that you can take control of and do to try to limit these things.
And that's what we're going to talk. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, because I definitely want to mention that. But before we move on from that, is anxiety like common in certain genders? Or is it more so populated or common within males, race, in any race? You know what I'm saying? How is it dispersed, or just anybody can explain?
Well, I mean, as far as I know about it, women have it, men have it. I would say that mostly the things that I've looked at has been in terms of military personnel, and obviously it's November now. So I think it's Suicide Awareness Month. And so you have a lot of people that, especially during this time of the year, when it gets gloomy, it gets cloudy, people get down, people get depressed. I mean, that's just a natural occurrence just due to the change due to a change in the climate, just the way everything feels. It gets darker earlier. So these are things that that happens on a yearly basis, and we just need to be aware of. Usually people also feel alone at this time of the year, and so that affects them as well. So, I mean, really and truly, it can affect anybody, but right now, at least, people do the 22 push-up challenge for the 22 veterans that take their life, all the time, to commit suicide and stuff like that. So, that's kind of where my focus has been, just because of having been a former service member. But people with men, we tend to not want to ask for help as much. Mm-hmm. And I think that puts us sometimes at a worse disadvantage, because you have to have a safety net. You have to have something to fall back to. Mm-hmm. And I say someone, but something to fall back to. But if you need to talk to someone, or people need to, not you, but I'm saying people need to talk to someone, you need to find an outlet to try to talk to somebody, find an outlet that you can try to disperse those bad feelings.
Okay. Now, as we take a pause, because I got some more people on here, tell everybody again about your channel and where they can find you, because you're getting a lot of people on here, and I don't want them to leave without them knowing where they can find, because some people might not even come back and renew or check out the video. So tell them,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my name is Shawn C. I am the host of The Sensational Gent. It's like Sensational, but sensational. My last name is in there, right? In the place, sensational. Simsational. Sensational Gent. So the whole show and the premise of it is to help guys better themselves, help men better themselves through self improvement, through understanding their interpersonal relationships, right? So they can live their best life. And that's what we say. It's a women friendly show. It's a show for men to help to talk to us, but it's pretty women friendly, right? In terms of, look, I'm going to speak the truth. If you're a male or female, if we're messing up, I'm going to call it out, right? I'm going to call it out on both sides. And so I think that's why I have a pretty good female following as well, in terms of the information that we put out, because I do research. I don't just put out stuff just to say it, because my knowledge may have changed. Things change all the time. So I always do my research. I'll spend almost a day or two sometimes just researching a topic. So, but the show is about relationships and dating for right now. I wanted it to be also about health and fitness and travel, right? So just the things that I believe that will help men be more complete. But what I really want from the show is to help us, instead of blaming as men, I want us to work on ourselves so we can handle certain situations better.
Okay. All right. So y'all go over and check out my man channel. Ability Mom of Two Vlogs, one of my good friends, says she definitely struggles with panic attacks and anxiety attacks. I wanted to ask you, so like you said, was that the first time you ever experienced any type of anxiety attack, when you had the bum rush of people at the bar, or you have been experiencing?
Oh no, no. This is something I've been able to limit it because of the way I think about it, or because of the way that I handle it. But this is something that I'm going to probably experience, or have the ability to experience for the rest of my life. It's not saying I'll have another episode. It's just saying that I'm always going to be susceptible to it now.
Okay.
And so this, started well over a decade plus ago.
Mm-hmm. And what like when you experience these, what as far as your body, your physicality, your body, does it go through certain situations? Like, describe how it makes you feel. Do you sweat? Your heart starts to beat faster when you begin?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So when you have a panic attack, there's a variety of feelings. It could feel like that you can't move. It could feel, you could be sweating. You could be like overly hot and flush. You can feel like, your chest is pounding, like your heart is pounding, like really, really fast. And maybe it's going really, really slow at the moment, or vice versa. It may stop you from actually feeling like you can physically move. When I have when I've had panic attacks, I could see where I wanted to walk to, but I couldn't move. I just physically felt unable to move. It felt like having a heart attack, and that's a panic attack. An anxiety attack, again, is a little bit more controllable, but you still feel debilitated. You still feel like you are like it's almost like being claustrophobic. It feels like things are panning in and out. Your head is zooming in and out. Your vision, it can affect your vision for people that, can. Well, it does. It does all that. So because, again, you are, your brain it can cause different things for different people, right? Like you might not be able to even walk for the moment. You might feel like you can move at the moment for some people. So
how long do they last? Like for a second?
It all depends on the person. It could last for hours, and that kind of feeds on itself, because if it lasts too long, then you start getting even more panicky, even more nervous. You see what I'm saying? So, okay. But most of it is due to worrying about something that you can't control, right? I'm not saying that's exclusively it, but usually if what I tell my daughter when she goes through it is I tell her to sing her favorite song, right?
Right.
And she's like, this is silly. I don't want to sing out loud. I was like, remember the words, sing your favorite song. And the reason why I tell her to sing your favorite song is because what's going to happen in that moment, you're focused on the words to your favorite song and not whatever it is you're thinking about. And that'll
Great.
at least break it enough for you to come out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a great point there because you offer, and it's good to offer suggestions like that because that's going to be my next question in terms of, yeah. So you definitely read my mind. So y'all definitely take heed to that. I also wanted to ask you that if it's sometimes anxiety, well, just explain to the audience the relation between anxiety and depression, or if there is one. Explain, if not, explain if it does lead to depression.
I think I think that it's hard for you may be depressed and not really experience anxiety or panic attacks
Okay.
because you could just feel that general state of depression, but you're not overly worrying about one thing. You just feel like nothing lifts you up, like you're in this hole that you can't get out of. So they're not linked in that way. But I will tell you that if you already suffer from some level or type of anxiety or panic attack, that could be something that leads you down the rabbit hole of depression as well.
Oh, that's interesting. And I want to ask you, and I know the title is about anxiety, but just off the cuff, and we speaking a little bit about depression. Is there such thing as like borderline depression, like symptoms that may occur before you actually get into the depression stage? Because you said that you mentioned earlier about there are things like you might be in a slump. There may be things that that may cause you to experience depression. You may not want to do certain things. So before you actually get into the actual depression, is there things that are considered to be borderline? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Yeah, believe it or not, it's depression is a normal emotion, believe it or not, right? Think about when you
okay,
didn't get that puppy that you wanted and you're depressed about it, you're sad about it. You may not want to talk, you may be withdrawn, right? These are all things that happen when a person is depressed, right? You kind of pull away from
right,
people,
right.
right? So there are a normal range of emotions that we feel. Is like we can't tell somebody not to be angry because anger is a normal emotion.
Right.
But most normal people, they'll be depressed for a moment. Depressed people you may not get out of bed for days. You know what I mean? You may feel like there's just nothing that can get you out of that for a while.
Mm.
And so even when presented with things that should quote unquote make you happy, right? You still can't get out of your slump. You still you still it may not be enough, right? So but we all go through our range of emotions. That's normal. It's just when you get stuck in there, that's the
I got
dangerous
you.
part.
I got you.
When
Great point. Great point. So again, do they both? You agree that both anxiety and depression kind of work hand in hand, or you said they're totally different?
Well, they're different. I would say that though, again, if you have anxiety attacks and panic attacks and stuff like that, it can lead you to depression, right? Like you can gain depression from that, but depression in itself doesn't mean you have anxiety or panic attacks.
Gotcha. Great point. Well, Shawn, I want you to wrap up everything in a nice little bow. Tell everybody, a little bit, take a couple of minutes to, tell everybody if they are experiencing any type of anxiety or any type of attacks or whatever in that form, to give them some advice in terms of what they could do, especially again with what's going on now and what you mentioned earlier about the holidays coming up. People may be depressed because they losing, or get anxiety attacks because they've lost someone or whatever the case may be. Give them some advice, man.
So I mean, the best thing I could tell you is tell everyone is this: if you are having these issues and they're so severe, and you've been having them for a while, but you're just telling yourself you're going to be okay, it'll just pass, then I would say the most important thing to do is to get the help that you need. Because don't let it fester, because the longer it festers, the more you think there's no way out of the hole. And that's not the truth. When it comes to depression, the biggest thing is, like there's things that you can do to help limit your depression. It's not saying that you're going to get rid of it, but you can limit it. But the most important thing is if you need help, get help. Now, as far as the anxiety and the panic attacks, that is a state of mind that you can also somewhat control. Like I say, I don't worry about the past and I don't worry about the future. I learn from my past and I plan for the future. Okay. And then I ask myself a simple question. Is the thing that I'm worried about something I can do something about? If the answer is no, then I push it off to the side. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no sense to worry about something that I can't control. But if this answer is yes, then I say, okay, what can I do about it? And I keep asking that question, what can I do about it? Until that yes is I've done everything I can, or it turns into a no, in which case I push it off to the side.
Bro, you talking to me, man, for real. I'm telling you, bro. I go through these things, man, because I was just off the cuff, man. I experienced, like, man, as I mentioned, my direction. I'm more so focused on the direction because I'm a little older, and it's so much as you probably don't know, but as a blind person, it's so much that you have to content with, man, and that can,
of course,
be, overwhelming to where the hiring people don't want to hire you for certain things, and you have to settle for certain situations, and it just becomes a situation that, to me, I focus on a lot. And like I said, you can ask my circle of friends, and this was definitely well needed, bro. I'm telling you, I needed you to come on here and talk about this, and I'm quite sure my audience thanks you for doing it as well, man, for real.
Not a problem.
And so I put in the Sensational, SEMSATIONAL Gent, right?
Yep.
Well, that's where y'all can find them at, man. And if y'all have any questions, y'all can contact him there as well. So I don't want to hold him too long. He's a busy man. So, man, again,
it's all good.
Again, I'm about to play my my outro, man. You can bounce if you wish, but I appreciate you coming on, man, and
absolutely,
everybody. If there's anything that you want to talk about, again, this is a home for you, man. And anytime you want to come on, you let me know, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And like everybody that's out there, y'all worried about this stuff. Like, look, if you can't control it at this point, do what you can do. What you can do in the moment. Worry about that. Don't stress on what's going on out there. I'm not even watching. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do at this point. I did what I could do, right?
Okay, you hear that, Tawanda?
I did what I can do. Now it's like, look, I'll worry about the future later. Right now, I gotta live in the present. I got groceries to make. I got things to do.
Thank you.
You can't stop living your life. You can't stop living your life. You got to live your life. Right? Go out there and do your thing. So
real talk, man.
Then live your best life. As we say on my show, live your best life.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it, man. Anything else I can do, let me know, man.
All right, sounds good.
All right, bye. Bye. Hold on, y'all. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed the show, because I definitely did, and I hope y'all learned something, because I definitely did as well. Look, man, y'all go hit them like buttons, man. Appreciate everything that y'all done for me. If y'all got any suggestions, thanks. Y'all let me know. I want to thank Ability Mom. I have 2 blogs. I want to thank the Blending the Blind and Sighted, Tawanda, Pamela Coon, Naturally Beauty, Naturally You. I want to thank Boss Lady. Y'all go do those squats, man. She got a 30-day challenge. So Tawanda, Pamela, y'all go do those squats, man, and join that 30-day squat challenge so y'all can relieve yourself of any type of anxiety, man. Woo! Thank y'all. Hold on. Thank y'all so much, man.